everyone, it is your favorite kind of punch, Mr. Falconpunch 996, the underrated king, the recommendation master, and of course YouTube's #1 Dorohedoro fanboy, back to bring you guys another new video. Once again, I am back to reviewing Dragon Ball Z movies, and today we'll be tackling both Cooler's Revenge and Cooler's Return. Cooler's Revenge is a pretty simple movie. As the title mentions, this has the great Cooler, Frieza's older brother, and his own Ginyu Force come to Earth to get revenge on Goku for defeating Frieza. And really, that's it. Like the previous movies, nothing too complex and leaves plenty of room for fun action, especially from Piccolo, who I have to say has some of the most badass moments in this movie, surprisingly. But let's move on to Cooler himself. Is he actually cooler than his little brother? Well, he's definitely more cool-headed with a cooler design, but I still prefer Frieza more. I will admit though, his final form looks pretty badass, and I really wish that they would have used this design for Frieza's next level form in Resurrection F. Now the fight between Cooler and Goku was cool, no pun intended. However, I felt, especially considering Cooler is the older brother to one of the most iconic villains of anime and manga, would have made for a really huge and epic fight. However, compared to the Frieza fight on Namek, this just doesn't feel quite as epic. However, my favorite thing about this movie isn't really a fight scene or anything, but a scene that comes towards the end where Cooler realizes that he could have killed Goku years ago before he even reached Earth and became who he is now. I don't know why, it just seems really awesome, like life just threw one big middle finger at Cooler before he died. It made for a pretty epic send-off, or at least for a while, as next up we have Cooler's Return, which is just lacking. However, before I get into that, let's talk about the plot. Namek once again is under threat, this time from an evil robot army, and it's up to Goku and friends to save Namek once again. But as it turns out, there's a much greater threat than the robots, as the leader of these robots is Cooler, back once again, to have his vengeance now made a lot more personal on Goku, and is now upgraded with a mechanical body, since, as we all know, I never think we actually got a name for the alien race Frieza and Cooler belong to. Well, whatever they are, we just know that they're really hard to take down. But getting back to what I was saying about this movie being lacking, first off, what really bothers me with this movie, and I know I might sound really hypocritical, but this movie needed more energy blasts. Yes, I do know I've said in the past that I just love when Dragon Ball Z returns to its martial art roots. However, my god, I was literally screaming at the screen for someone to throw a fucking energy blast. You see, Cooler's robot army is somewhat impervious to hand-to-hand combat, and most of the Z fighters try taking them down with their fists. This of course leads them to get their asses kicked. However, instead of throwing a fucking energy blast and destroying the robots, they decide the big solution to this problem is to punch harder. I mean, come on man, this could have been Krillin's big time to shine. Just destructo disc the shit out of these robots, but no, instead we have punching harder as the solution. There are some other dumb moments in this movie, like this scene right here, which should not be happening, but let's move on to the big Goku versus Cooler fight, since after all, that's like the main meat of this movie. Well, at first I did like Cooler's new body, since, again, no pun intended, it looked cooler, especially at its first appearance where it's all shiny and everything. The way it's done is just so great, I just feel like I have to squint my eyes just to see him. However, when the shine is not there, it just doesn't really look that good, or at least for me. Despite the new powerful body, the fight once again just didn't feel as epic as I wanted it to. But hey, Vegeta makes his first movie appearance here, even though it's kinda out of fucking nowhere. And hey, he turns into modern art in this movie. But even with the Vegeta bonus, the fight wasn't as cool as I wanted it to be. Hell, with even 1,000 Coolers, it didn't reach the scales of epicness I wanted it to. Maybe I'm just expecting too much from Cooler as a villain, but despite most likely repeating events from the Frieza saga, I did at least expect Namek to blow up once again in this movie. That being said, I did enjoy certain aspects of this movie. Unlike some of the previous movies, this one gets to the action rather quickly. And the ending was pretty badass, even though it didn't make that much sense. And the Guinea Star idea, which powered Cooler throughout this movie, was a pretty neat idea and something I wish they saved for something better. Hell, a movie about the Guinea Star forming itself to be the new bad guy for a movie would have been pretty cool in my opinion. Anyways, when it comes to these Cooler movies, I would say Revenge is good and Return is just meh. Alright, and it's time to wrap up this video. Next time, instead of tackling a movie, I'll be going to the Dragon Ball Z special, History of Trunks. But as always, I am Mr.Falconpunch 996. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page, and if you haven't done any of that yet, you will be Falcon Punch in the face, so you better do it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.